My name is V Online. I just wanted to make, kind of one of my first videos in many years, probably since I was like 15. And I just wanted to talk about this game, Lords of the Fallen. I want to preface this with the fact that I absolutely love Souls-like games. Sekiro is probably my absolute favorite. It's probably, I think, the only Souls-like game I 100%ed. I really, really love that game. I beat it multiple times in one sitting. It's fantastic. My favorite, like Dark Souls specifically, game is Dark Souls 1. I just feel like that atmosphere is unmatched and it's just so fun. Even coming back most recently while I was streaming, I played some Dark Souls 1 and I adored it playing through it again. And I'm craving that next playthrough already. And I also really do appreciate Dark Souls 2. I'm not a Dark Souls 2 hater. And Dark Souls 3 I'm a little less excited about than most people are. So it's, I have a love for so many Souls-like games, even a lot of indie ones. I would say my favorite non-From Software Souls-like game is Lies of P. I feel like that's pretty, not really a hot take. It's really good, and I think competes with a lot of FromSoft's games as well. It's a pretty good game. I'm a little worried about their AI stuff they're talking about, but it's still really, really good game. I'm excited for the sequel. So I just want to say, I was gifted Lords of the Fallen from a friend who loves Souls-like games. He does many of his own challenges, like Soul Level 1s for fun. I was hyped because the game looks so much better than the original Lords of the Fallen from 2014. I don't know if anybody's played that, but it wasn't great. It looked very pretty, I think, if I remember correctly, but it's been many years. I own that game. I kind of like forced myself to play that original one, but when I saw the trailer for this new one, it is really, really pretty and exciting looking and stuff. So I was like really hyped to play. And my girlfriend ended up copying the game as well, and we both hopped on to play together. We usually play Souls games solo and just parallel play, but I thought it'd be a fun experience to do co-op together since it was added and we got to go all the way through together. We began the game on veteran mode where I think we finished the game around level 60. There's a character creator, which wasn't really that great, but still cool to have in comparison to like Lies of P or Kazan, since those characters are like static and, they are main characters. We could start with the things I love about the game. I would say first things first, the most important thing, and I think the thing you're going to see first when playing the game is the art style. I love this game's art style. It is dark fantasy through and through, and I think takes from Lords of the Rings so well compared to things like Dark Souls and Berserk, where those are European but with Eastern flair, while Lords of the Fallen is fully like European style stuff. I mean, there's some Asian things to it as well, but it is not that. It's fully European. It's just blood and gore and dread and there's angels and hell and stuff like that. Yeah, and then I would say like the only other game that's done anything that I've played of recent memory, Destiny 2, Witch Queen has that a little bit to it. A little bit cleaner though, but it has that. And then also with their Shadowkeep DLC, when you do the dungeon, it kind of has that feeling a little bit. But I'm sure there's other games. Probably I know Blasphemous might, maybe. I'm not sure. But overall, the art style is very cool, and it oozes with style in that way. And I'll talk more about certain things with visual clarity and stuff like that, but more so the art style itself, it is there, it is good, right? Next thing would probably be the enemy designs are very cool. I'm gonna name a couple of bosses I listed as I was playing the game, but I'm not gonna lie, I will say a lot of them aren't completely memorable, but I'm going to name them nonetheless, and if you're a big Lords of the Fallen fan, or you could just simply look them up, or I'll just put them on the screen, and then maybe, you'll get the gist. But Womb of Despair, Scarlet Shadow, Raw Manglers, I'm going to fuck up some of these names, Proselyte, Trapper, Ruiner, Skin Stealer, I think it's Abscess, Scourge Sister, Sanctified Huntress, Conflagrant Seer, Infernal Enchantress. These are just, I think those are mostly just like regular mobs. Some of them might be, because I think the Skin Stealer is a boss. Yeah, I think some of these are bosses. But anyways, some of them are so cool looking, whether they have like rotted fucking flesh or just cool weapons, cool gear on, cool little intros when you see them, or they're in the cool area. Regardless, any of that. There's some really cool designed enemies. I would even say sometimes there's some more unique variety, depending on your area, than some other Souls games, and I think that's super cool. Next, NPCs are pretty interesting with cool designs and voice acted pretty well. I think the voice acting is very good in this game. Again, I'm not gonna lie, most of the characters aren't like, I'm not gonna sit there and say, oh, I remember everything like you would Solaire, right? But, and I'm probably gonna fuck up these names too, but there's Damarose, the Marked, Exactor Dunmire, Gerlinda, the Blacksmith, and Kukujin, Pieta, and the Iron Wayfarer. I remember the Iron Wayfarer is super cool looking, great fucking voice, deep. Gerlinda Blacksmith is super cool. I love her voice and her little gimmick with having like a little demon next to her that you can like make choices later on. Sorry if that's spoilers, but pretty cool. Gives a little interest stuff to the Blacksmith. Kukujin, I didn't finish her questline. I hear she gives a really good weapon. I'm gonna be honest. Spoiler alert, I just didn't really care. But her design is super cool. And Exactor Dunmire, he's like, you know, I think is there more than one black person in the game? I don't remember, but you know, I'm a black dude, so like it is cool to see a black guy in there, and he's kind of like, I'm pretty sure Exactor Dunmire was the holy guy. I'm pretty sure. I could be completely wrong and mixing up with a whole different character, but the NPCs are pretty cool. I think they're interesting. Next, the areas look really cool, so that still goes into like, you know, art style, but like Skyrest Bridge is pretty cool. Reminds me of like the Demon Souls hub world a bit. The Forsaken Fen, which is a swamp, or it starts off as like a foliage mountain area and then leads to a swamp. And I like that kind of stuff, but there's a bit about that place that I don't really like it either, and that can go into more stuff later. The Abandoned Red Corpse, really gritty, and it's their intro to the game, that area, and it's honestly, I think, one of the best looking areas in the whole game. I think they low-key kind of didn't get there again. It was like so fucking cool, and like there's so much like gore and fire later on in the last part of that area. Fight for the Choke Curse is a cool area, but the actual like map design of it was fucking awful. I hated it. But we're sticking to things we like. And then Cistern was pretty cool. It's just gritty and leads to a pretty cool boss. Okay, this one real quickly. The Umbral Plane itself is cool, but we're gonna get into more on why there's nothing else to say about that, because it's honestly also one of the reasons that make me dislike this game. But the Umbral Plane, and I'm saying it again, itself is cool. It's cool. All right, it's cool. Some of the bosses do really cool mechanics and they look super awesome. Some of them on the top of my head, these are like, I try to make notes as I was playing, but Pieta summoning duplicates of light and raining holy arrows down, and it like felt like an MMO style, like World of Warcraft or Final Fantasy, like dungeon boss or raid boss. It was pretty cool. But I know we've had bosses do that lately in like Elden Ring and Night Rain and stuff. It was honestly really cool to see in an indie game in such a way. I think they're indie. Light Reaper's dragon raining fire plus tons of effects, and then his dialogue with you. I didn't really like the Light Reaper fight as he's kind of like a pursuer, but it is not, it's okay. But we're sticking on things that are good. The Raptured Huntress of the Dusk, spawning walls of holy energy, feeling like another Final Fantasy XIV boss. Loved it, cool. The Unbroken Promise having a duo fight where they fuse into a really like sick design. It's kind of like the Prince in Dark Souls 3 fusing with, was his brother or some shit? I don't know. I'm gonna be honest, I love Souls games. I don't really be consuming the lore that much. But it's a cool fight. I love their fusion design is honestly one of the coolest in Souls-likes. It's super fucking cool. Sundered Monarch was pretty cool. Just, you know, big guy, kind of like the fire giant from Elden Ring. Had really cool effects and some cool dialogue, but like, yeah. Adir is one of the final bosses of a path. He summons like an avatar that's fighting you while talking to you, and there's a bunch of like worshippers in the arena that like just sit there and worship while you're fighting, and it has really cool effects and a cool phase 2 and stuff like that. It was awesome. It looked really good. Okay, another super cool thing about this game that I think more devs should do. I know some devs do it, but not all devs. Co-op is technically free. You could have like a friend get the co-op free pass and play with you if you own the game. So like if you buy the game, especially if it's on sale and your friend is a broke boy and can't afford it, that's fine. We're in a shit economy right now anyways. Go ahead and just get the friend pass so they can load up the game. Their progress is saved with you pretty sure. The only thing is that they just can't play on their own. They have to play with you. But still, the co-op in this game, while flawed, is pretty good. So I do recommend that. It's honestly, I think more devs should do that, in my opinion. Another cool little thing, it's not like super awesome, but it's cool for some people. You could spawn your own bonfires at set locations and then just like move them around. So like, let's say you have your set up proper bonfires throughout the world, and then you have like little sections where you have like long journeys in between bonfires, and then you'll see like these little like flowers and shit on the floor, and then you can like plant a bonfire on them, but you can only set down one at a time. So if you go to like another area and you want to set one up again, you have to, when you set it up, it's removing the last one. Isn't like the worst con to it, but sometimes before bosses, they don't have a bonfire, so you want to set one down, and it may erase another spot where you had a really good bonfire at. So it's just a pick and choose thing. I liked it, but in co-op it's a little broken because you guys have your own like individual amount, so you kind of just get a lot. So you kind of just like, you know, like you there's no like real friction there, but it's still cool. So yeah, that's kind of like the last of things I love about the game. And I'm gonna be honest, the dislike list is a lot longer, and while recording the audio right now, obviously I'm gonna be cutting things down, but I'm already 13 minutes, and that's about the stuff I like. So if the list about things I don't like is a lot longer, I don't know. Maybe we'll see. Maybe we'll cut some things. I don't know. But okay, this is the section of things I dislike about the game. And again, there is a lot. The gameplay feels stiff and floaty at the same time. I don't even know how to really explain that. It feels like there's like so much latency, and there's like seems to be a lot of input reading as well that might be affecting that too. Like it feels like there's a lot of like it's queuing a lot of the buttons I'm pressing, and then also delaying. It's like weird. And then I turned off frame gen, which I had to basically only have the option to turn it off by going to an ini file in the folder. It wouldn't let me turn it off in game. And I turned off DLSS to lower latency as well, because I have a 5070 and a 9800 XCD, and I pulled up like the stats, and my latency was like damn near 30 to 40 milliseconds. When I dropped that stuff down, the lowest I can get to is about 18. And I know a lot of modern games have that right now, but like with the Souls-like, you really want snappy feeling, and it just felt terrible. I don't know. In this game, and there's in other games as well, I mean, Dark Souls 2 especially has things like this, but there's something I like to call LOL die nigga mechanics. But we'll go into more of that later. But I feel like with that saying, you will understand already what I'm talking about. Okay, and then there is so much visual clutter in this game. Some of it looks like artifacting from DLSS and FrameGen, which is like extremely fucking visible, and the snowy areas and such. Even with my settings off, there's so much particles in the air, and you see like all these after effects and ghosting. I don't know if the game's an Unreal Engine or not. It might be, but like it is really, really, really muddy sometimes. Even like with sharpness, it's still muddy. Like even I've been playing a lot of Death Stranding 2 lately, and that has a bit, especially in the snowy areas. It's probably just modern gaming woes, but like it is ugly, and I hate it, and it ruins the immersion of the game for me. The music is pretty forgettable, and sometimes it's just like gone. Sometimes I don't know if it's just because of co-op, but it's just like we're fighting this one. I'm pretty sure I said the boss's name earlier. I think that's the Woman Despair. I could be wrong, but it's like this big like crow boss that summons a ghost you have to fight, and it has music playing, but sometimes the music just disappears, and then you're just hearing snow and sound effects, and that's it. It's, I don't know, just not good, I guess. And the music is just like some of the songs that play like aren't even really like catchy or good, unlike, you know, Elden Ring, Dark Souls, even so far as Demon Souls 1, and you know, some of the sounds in Armored Core and Kingsfield and stuff like that. Like at least there's stuff there that you can remember. Here there's like nothing, like not even sound effects. Like sound effects are honestly one of the most important things to me. And you know, you remember even the button press sounds of Dark Souls. You remember, you know, the death sound in Dark Souls. I don't remember anything from Lords of the Fallen. I remember like I'm trying to just like picture the sound effect of me going into the fucking Umbral Plane, and I don't remember. I legitimately don't remember like what the pressing A in a menu sounds like. I don't remember what the bonfires sound like. I don't remember anything. And that's not good. I don't think that's a good thing. When you're playing a game that's hard, things like that should be things you remember because it makes the experience. And here, I don't remember anything. Nor did I like have a want to look up the songs outside of the game. I really do think they should work on that. When you roll while locked on, if the enemy moves a certain direction, like really fast or like rapidly, or they teleport, the direction of your roll and analog sticks are completely different and will cause you to like roll to your death or like into other things. Like you'll move sometimes in a direction that your analog stick isn't pointing. If the enemy dodges left and you're trying to like dodge right, you'll dodge left because of the lock on sometimes. I don't know if it happens all the time. It could be a skill issue, but like it would happen pretty fucking frequently that it would fuck me up and make me rage and want to smash my controller in and all that kind of stuff. But like, yeah, it doesn't feel snappy or intuitive or good. I don't know. The bosses definitely use heavy input reading, like with some of them reacting like what feels like in an instant. I could just be bullshitting and trash and garbage and you hate me, you want me to die. But like, it does like feel like sometimes like I'll be pressing attack at that moment and then they're just instant one hit KO kills me. And again, I was on veteran, but like still, it I don't know. I mean, I know Elden Ring got like that, but at least Elden Ring is mostly good, you know? So if I took the time to like sit down and see how enemies react to movement and inputs, like I'm sure this could be avoided. But I was just not interested enough in the game to like take it slower. It's not like I was like mashing and just screaming at the game going, you know, this shit is fucking garbage. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't doing that. It was just more so that like with Elden Ring and Lies of P and Dark Souls and Sekiro and Bloodborne and Armored Core, I sit there and try to take the time. I see, okay, I'm dying. Why is that? The game makes me feel like I made a mistake. And Road to the Fallen doesn't feel like that, so I just don't even care. I just go, I'm just gonna keep doing it until I win, which largely won me the game. So another big fucking issue, and this is something I would say pisses me off a lot because I saw that it got nerfed and it was still this bad. So mob density being so goddamn fucking high and was already nerfed by the time I played it. So there's this many mobs there now. And a lot of mini bosses and sometimes main bosses have mobs in the arena. And sometimes mini bosses will become normal mobs that you see so fucking much that it becomes so aggravating to deal with. At least in co-op and in veteran, the mobs didn't really drop that many souls, which was a big fucking problem in co-op, which I'll explain later. But yeah, it just too many mobs. Like people say that about Dark Souls 2, and it's true, but this is worse. The most aggravating and friction involving part of the game is the Umbral Plane. You may be asking, V, you said you really liked the Umbral Plane. Yeah, I did say that. I think it is very cool. But it is forced down your throat the same way that, if you remember and if you played, the Batmobile in Arkham Knight was, right? Like, one of the biggest problems with Batman Arkham Knight is that they want you in that fucking Batmobile every 2 seconds. And I understand why. The Batmobile, I know they took so much fucking time to make that. And it was cool. It was awesome. But dude, I don't want to be in it all the time. Like, it should be equal or want me to do something else, right? Same thing happened with Dark Souls, or I keep saying Dark Souls 2. Destiny 2, Edge of Fate. The Dark Matter Morph Ball, if you played Destiny 2, you would know that Morph Ball was done so goddamn much in that DLC that it made it feel like shit, even though the story was great. You know what I mean? It ended up, on top of other things, was one of the main reasons people started quitting Destiny 2 so fast, right? In this instance, bro, you are always, it feels like there's never a reason not to be in the Umbral Plane in this game. You get more souls when you're in the Umbral Plane, I'm pretty sure. Half the time, most of the exploration is locked behind the Umbral Plane. There's platforms that you don't see unless you're in the Umbral Plane. There are enemies that you don't see unless you're in the Umbral Plane. There are paths and doors you can't get through without being in the Umbral Plane. So as soon as I would cut the connection and be back in the real world, I would take 2 steps and go, guess I have to be in the Umbral Plane again. It was so fucking aggravating. because also when you're in the Umber Plane, it halves your health and you have to like hit enemies to get your health back, I think, if you have white health. I'm not sure if it defaults to white health or not. It just doesn't feel good. The world is so blue when you're in there, when you can't even take in the actual environment that was crafted before you. You don't get to see the cool, gritty, red flames and corpses. It's all blue. When you're in the dark caves and it's black and dark and, you know, there's enemies trying to jump scare you and stuff like that, it's blue. When you're in the foresty area, it's blue. When you're in the swamps and you're running around and you need to get across the swamp, but you have to go under, but to be under, you have to be in the Umber Plane, it's blue. So everything in this game is blue. And some of the bosses, you need to be in the Umber Plane. As far as I could tell, I could just be fucking stupid, but as far as I could tell, you had to be in the Umber Plane. And guess what? The boss fight was blue. It was things like that. I feel like if Lords of the Fallen 2 reduces that a little bit, it would become less of an annoyance. I would probably enjoy it a lot more if that wasn't forced on me so much. The Umber Plane like walks into the room, smacks my ass, and then hits on me and gives me his number, and I have to call. You know what I mean? Like, it's just weird. I don't know. I just don't like it. I specifically was playing an agility build because I played Dex in every single Dark Souls game, and I never changed anything. I never play strength because I hate it, and I never play magic because I hate it. I always do agility. I like to be a glass cannon. I like to just poke and prod and dodge and bleed or freeze or zap or, you know, something. As far as I can tell, agility felt pretty fucking weak. Where I was playing with my girlfriend and they are playing magic and they were hitting so goddamn hard. And maybe this is just a co-op scaling and the fact that they were around like 20 or 30 levels above me, because in co-op, your co-op partner doesn't lose any souls, which is very strange when they die. So they can just keep buying mana stones and keep leveling up, while if I die, I lose my souls. You know, so I was fairly weak, it felt like, for almost all of the game. And it also felt very hard to find an agility weapon that I wanted to use, especially because I was trying to go into it looking for weapons that were very different, but I couldn't. A lot of the weapons feel the same. All the short swords have varying speeds, but they felt very samey to me. I tried a couple different ones, and I picked some like bleeding short sword in the beginning of the game that I found, and I was using that for almost the whole game because every single short sword I found would scale with magic or strength, and there's so much fucking strength in this game. There is so much. Every single time I picked up an item, it was strength. It was strength, it was strength, it was strength. A weapon or armor piece, it was all oriented around strength. I was using cloth for almost the whole game because everything else was around strength. And in Souls games, I normally use an S-stock. I love rapiers, right? I like daggers, I like rapiers, and very rarely I like katanas. I used to use the Uji katana when I first played Dark Souls, but I really love rapiers and S-stocks. It just feels so free-flowing, and I feel like I can cancel my attacks and think better with it. In Bloodborne, I really like the Cane Whip. Same reason. I just recently finally beat the DLC because I never finished it before. Not because it was hard. I just ended up losing my game share, so I had to rebuy the DLC. I didn't feel like doing it. But I was playing it on Shad, and I beat the DLC, and I legitimately tried all the OP weapons that everybody uses, and I just didn't like the feeling. I love the feeling of the Cane Whip. That's just kind of how I am. I kind of one-trick things when I have it. In this game, though, yeah, I ended up settling with the bleeding short swords, and then because I had my co-op partner, they just dropped me there. They're not using it, so I had two, which allowed me to like stack up bleeding a lot more, I guess. But I normally don't ever dual wield, but I just felt like I had to here. But yeah, most of my inventory is filled with just heavy armor and large weapons. So co-op. Well, I said it was great, and I think this is honestly, if I were to recommend the game, I would absolutely recommend it if you are gonna play co-op. But co-op is still in a pretty sorry state as of well, I guess when I beat the game was probably about April 2026. I'm recording now in June 1st, or is it July? It's July 1st. Wow, holy shit, time is going. Co-op is, yeah, it's still in a pretty sorry state. It is a lot better than it was before. I played it about a year ago for a little bit, and that co-op was fucking terrible. No progress was happening. So much rubber banding, so much lagging, so much disconnecting. Now it is a lot better. Some items aren't appearing for your co-op partner. The co-op partner keeping all souls on death is pretty ridiculous to me. I think that kind of ruins the fun. sometimes when you're killed, you come back with second life on the plane, so your souls will be there. But then you die, and then you get revived by your co-op partner, and then sometimes your soul just disappear because you technically just died if you weren't able to grab it again. Sometimes the co-op partner could like not interact with things, or doors were stuck closed for them, or weren't even there and it's just an invisible wall that they couldn't get through, which made them have to sit at the bonfire and then walk through again, I think. I don't know, it was very weird. A lot of level design felt very uninspired in this game, and the shortcuts were largely useless in my opinion. I would say that sometimes you would find a shortcut so close to your bonfire that it didn't even really matter. Sometimes you would find a shortcut back to a spot that you're probably never gonna go to again. I know Souls games do this all the time sometimes, but like, it is not the magic of Dark Souls 1. It is not some of the shortcuts you find in Bloodborne. It is not some of the shortcuts you find in Sekiro. It is not the shortcuts you find in even Lies of P, where even there's some lackluster shortcuts for sure. But like here, you would like find a shortcut to an elevator up, and then another elevator up, and then you had a bonfire, a super old one. And while it's like, cool, this means that this area is here, it feels like largely the whole point of it was just to be like, look where you are. And it's like, okay, you know, sure. And there were some areas I went to that were very familiar, like very familiar. Like in one of the end areas, I think right before you fight a deer, you come to this like area with like a spiral staircase. And it reminds me of the DLC tower from Bloodborne, where Lady Maria is. Maria? Yeah, Lady Maria. There are other areas like that. It's not as blatant as like Code Vein. I don't know about Code Vein 2, but Code Vein 1. But there's just some areas that are actually just very uninspired. Even the Fife area, the snow area, it reminds me of Dark Souls 2 DLC when you have to do that run to the duo animal boss. That shit fucking blows. That shit sucks. Fife like tries to copy the idea a little bit. The difference is that you can put down bonfires, so that would save it, but it was generally a pretty fucking garbage area. The level design in this game is just not really all that good and pretty boring, honestly, even if it looks cool, you know? The game seems to really force elemental damage, which isn't the worst thing ever, but just not very fun. I noticed it. I guess it's the way it tries to differentiate itself a bit, but I just felt like I was always doing more damage with any elemental. Right? If I put on any element that obviously wasn't like negated, it was like, I guess, just a lot stronger. Even if it was a few hits, like it would stack, because then also I'm using a bleed sword and I'm using 2, so the bleed stacks fast. And then it's also burning or poisoning or whatever. So it is crazy how much damage you end up actually doing when you're stacking elements on it. And then you have like a co-op partner if they're using magic. Well, their magic's also elemental sometimes, so it's doing that type of stuff, and it's pretty crazy. It ended up, like, for most bosses, like, making it easy. But you also, like, have to, like, know the elemental weakness, but you can also just raw dog it, and most of the time you'll be fine. One of my last, like, bullet points here is, at the end of the game, I got, and spoiler alert, right? But I got to the ending to fight a deer. The final boss legitimately does not shut the fuck up. Bro talks legit the whole fight through all phases while his avatar is fighting you or whatever the fuck it is. It has like Radahn, DLC Radahn level after images. Definitely a lot weaker, but and just to say, I know Lies of P did something similar with their DLC final boss. It's very uninspired. I also didn't appreciate it there. But like, the boss is rambling and rambling and rambling and rambling and rambling over and over and over again, while I'm just getting attacked non-stop. He's explaining to me that basically I made the wrong choice, and that the angels are the evil ones, which is very cliche. I play a lot of Shin Megami Tensei. All right, I know it. I know the angels are evil. Demons are evil too. Adir's not a good guy in this. But the funny thing is, I felt like I wanted to help Adir. I wanted to. I was literally saying like, bro, should I just like die? And then we like, let's see if there's a way I can like get the other ending. But no, you can't, because I already made my choice, even though I had no idea that there would be one. I guess if I checked the achievement list, I could have. If I looked up a walkthrough before, I could have. I'm not that guy. I don't like to look up walkthroughs when I play. I like to fuck up and fail over and over and over again and miss things if I got to. Honestly, if I look things up it's either one of two things. One, I'm playing something very archaic from the 80s or 90s, like Megami Tensei, where I probably might need a walkthrough or a loose walkthrough, or I really just don't like the game. If I don't like a game and I want to just get as many achievements as possible or finish the game as fast as possible sometimes, I will do that. I will look it up. So to get my next ending, I needed to heed his words from this playthrough, which is probably the game's intentions, the dev's intentions. I have to basically ignore all things holy. So the thing that tell you to do in the game, and another game I did this was the Blair Witch game, where it tells you to do something, and if you don't do it, you get a different ending. In this game, it's the same thing. If you don't interact with the big beacons, you get the other ending. You fight whole different bosses, which is cool, but I wish I knew. I thought it was mandatory that I had to interact with it, and because I wasn't feeling the game so much in the first place, why would I think to myself, maybe I won't interact with these? Maybe this was the intention. But like, as someone who's very when I play games, I'm very anal. I like to look at things and see things and explore things and stare at things and go every path I can go as much as possible. And here I just didn't even know it was an option, and I got locked in. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I just felt like that was pretty annoying. But why make him talk the whole time and tell me I made the wrong choice when I can't fix it? You know what I mean? Like, shut the fuck up. Generally, it comes down to this in the end. I guess this video is a lot longer than I thought it would be. I'm not gonna lie. 35 minutes now. My biggest problem with this game, and I'm gonna make a separate video on this at some point as well, I think. Many Souls-likes in general, it feels like they learn a lot of the wrong lessons from Souls games. Things should not be hard just because. They should be hard so that when you succeed, it felt like you succeeded. It feels like you're hitting fucking crack. It should feel like, oh, I fucking won. Oh, you know what I mean? Like, that's how it should feel. As much as I hated fighting DLC Radahn on day one. Well, I guess week one, before he got nerfed the first time, or technically the player got buffed. When I won in my Discord, we were all fighting him. Oh my god, nigga, I was screaming, and it felt so. I still have the clip of me beating him, just to look at that and go, "Fuck you." You know what I mean? This game didn't have any of that, and a lot of indie games and non-FromSoft Souls-like games don't have this feeling sometimes. Lies of P does. At least for me. It's all personal preference, but like, it doesn't have that. And I'm not saying FromSoft has always gotten that right, but they did it so well that it became the genre worth copying. Lords of the Fallen has so many LOL die nigga mechanics, like I mentioned earlier, that actively just irritated me all the time and made me not want to play the game. But I like to finish games even when I don't like them, so I can talk about them, right? And it made me just not want to play. It felt like everything people say is wrong with Dark Souls 2, but this is just more, and with intent to do that, which is so strange to me. I was getting so frustrated with the game, I would start calling the game Chuds of the Fallen. That was just my joke. I kept calling it to my girlfriend. I'm like, you want to play Chuds of the Fallen? Because in design, it felt that way. The way the fans were eating up the new designs for Armor Online for the next game made me question what direction the team was doing or where they were going. They made really cool female characters in this game, and it feels like they were going the Gooner route, which isn't a bad thing. I don't mind a little goon. You get me? Like, I play Nikke, not the goon. I think there's some cool characters in there. I don't read the story. I don't care. Just pull and play. But, you know, there needs to be, I guess, like, pure of heart when goon, and it doesn't feel that way here. I just thought that maybe it wasn't needed when the characters already look so fucking cool. Women in armor is one of the coolest and sexiest things in the world, okay? Women in armor with a fucking big sword is sexy. And here, and Lords of the Fallen, I think they did a very good job of that. There's some powerful looking women here. But like, and even the guys, like, there's some good looking guys here who look strong and powerful. Here, I just don't think we need that change. So we're gonna go into the LOL die nigga mechanic, right? So here's a few things, and I'm not saying that Dark Souls doesn't do this. Again, I just want to preface that. I'm saying that they do enough here that it makes it just feel like they're bullying you, and it's not fun. For me, an LOL die nigga mechanic, here's some examples. An enemy around the corner that will knock you off the map happens in this game over 100 times, right? And half the time they have like hyper armor. They're doing the thing, at least as an agility character. I couldn't stop them. They just push me, and the only thing I can do is dodge. But sometimes they kind of like heat seek a little bit. Sometimes they will loop it. It would just happen back to back, and it will push me off the map, and I die. Or they would push me into an enemy and I die, or into a trap and I die. It's just not fun. Mob density in rooms being overwhelming, especially when they chase very far in this game. This game does both. Even with the mob density nerf, there's so many. There's just so many mobs. And it's just not fun. Dark Souls 2 has a lot of mobs sometimes too. And in those instances, I say, wow, this is not fun. Here, when the game's already giving you so much friction with the umbral plane and the floaty and stiff combat and all of that, here, we also have this just annoying mob density that you have to fight so many enemies, and sometimes it's just the mini bosses that you fought are just now regular mobs. There's 2 or 3 in a room, including all these other mobs. And sometimes if you pull out your lantern, you will legitimately, if there's an enemy on the other side of the umbral plane as you pull out your lantern, they can pull you in. So then you have mobs outside of the umbral plane and then in the umbral plane trying to fight you, and the mobs in the umbral plane, they summon, they respawn and stuff like that. Yeah, some of the basic zombies do, you know. There are tons of static effects in this game, which there are plenty in Dark Souls 2 and Lies of P as well, but it's just a lot here. And enemies having random moves that provide them hyper armor that may also have high damage or status effects. This game does a lot of that. There's other games that do it too, especially like Kazan. But like, it's, again, all of these compound in this game that make it just not fun. These are a few examples, and normally LOL die nigga mechanics are okay in moderation. It makes you laugh. You go, oh, okay, nigga, I'm coming right back. You know what I mean? But like here, it does it so much and all the time that it just makes you not want to. Again, another Souls like I have finished recently was Kazan, and I have many problems with that game as well. But I would much rather replay that, honestly, which is funny because I said I would never play it again to myself, than ever touch this game again. And I may try Lords of the Fallen 2, because unlike most people that just blindly hate things, which I do a little bit of too, don't worry, I'm a hater myself, I was raised that way. I do like to give games a chance and finish games sometimes, just so I can explain why I dislike something, right? Even this game, I legitimately think this game is not very great, but I had good things to say about it, and I still recommend it if you want to play co-op. There just isn't that many co-op options. So to wrap things up, I would not recommend this game if you are solo. Maybe it was just the veteran mode, but it was just not fun. I hope they learned a lot from this game. Maybe Lords of the Fallen 2 blows me away, blows my cock, right? I cream and squirt, and they did everything right. But from what I'm seeing online, I just think they are continuing to learn the wrong lessons. Souls fans, and I'm a Souls fan myself, I'm not trying to shade y'all like that, but Souls fans will blindly eat up and play anything that comes their way, as well as call anything a Souls-like. Like Wukong, I don't consider a Souls-like, which I don't like that game either. Beat that as well. I may give the chance of the sequel just to give it a shot. I know the demo just recently came out. I'm thinking I'm gonna wait for the full game. I don't like being spoiled, so I'm gonna wait. I didn't watch the trailer. I don't know anything about the demo. I'm probably gonna give it a chance. But it might just continue the same trend. I feel like they don't learn the right lessons, and that comes from Souls fans kind of just blindly being like, yes, this game is great, even when it's not. I see people talk about Dimesia, and they say it's a great game, and it's indie, of course, but like it is not great. It's mid, and you can enjoy playing mid. That's okay. I have movies and shows and music and games that are mid that I love to play, right? And I love to watch, and I love to listen to. But to go as far as to recommend them sometimes without being aware of yourself is a little bit different. But yeah, otherwise, I would recommend this game if you are playing co-op, especially if they want to play the game for free. And I think every developer should copy that. Honestly, it is awesome. It's a great idea. I don't know. I appreciate everybody who, if you watch through the whole thing, I really do appreciate it. It's my first video since I was honestly maybe about 15. I'm 28 now. I'm older. And I used to do Let's Plays a lot and stuff like that for myself, really. But I appreciate it if you watch the whole thing. I think I want to make more videos. I just spontaneously was just like, I want to do something one day. And I want the structure of my videos to be kind of like a video essay, but more of a dialogue. I want it to be like we're talking in Discord. And I want you to be able to comment down below and say your opinion. And I want you to be able to accept the things that I say and be like, yeah, you know, I can see where you're coming from, but I actually really enjoy the game. You know what I mean? That's fine. I'm a hater through and through, to a fault sometimes. Sometimes I let myself hate something a little too hard, and I come back to it and like it. But I think that I want to do more. I also plan, like I said, I mentioned earlier, I want to make a video about Souls games learning all the wrong lessons. And again, it's supposed to be like a video essay, and I'm rambling a little bit at the end, but like, I want it to be more of a dialogue. I'm not doing like intense research. These are all just experience that I have. right? So that's what I want to keep it as. I don't want to make it something where I research and use big words and do like a somber voice and be like, and this is the lesson they learned. And it just wasn't making it. I don't want to do stuff like that. This is just for fun. So, appreciate everybody who's watching. And if you want to see me on Twitch, maybe as of this video, I might not have streamed it for like over a month or so. I had started a new job, so I just got very tied up, and I'm doing some certifications and stuff like that. So yeah, but my Twitch is same as here. You can also see my VODs are here as well. You can call me V online, V. My real name is Remy. You can call me that too. I don't care. And yeah, I appreciate y'all. Please leave a like down below and subscribe. And hopefully there'll be more. Thank you for your time, and see y'all. Peace out.